In this video, we'll learn about study sessions on Classwise. Study sessions are a great tool for providing your students some additional practice on certain topics, or they use as a remediation technique if there's certain topics that individual students or a larger group of students in your class seem to be struggling with. So to create a study session, we'll click on the left here on Add Study Session. We'll see a study session box show up. And now we've got a few options. So the first option we have to select is where within the student's course feed we want the study session to show up. In this case, we'll have our study session following module 2, the natural language processing module in our course. And now we start to add some topics for our study session. And there's two types of topics that can be covered in a study session. One is a set of required topics. So if there are certain topics we want everybody in the class to do some tutoring on with EdBot, we can list them under the required topics. And then there are also adaptive topics, and adaptive topics are personalized to each student. So when you publish a study session, when a student then opens to start the study session, Classwise will look at which topics they seem to be struggling with in your class so far, and we'll add these topics to the study session and require the students to go through some tutoring with EdBot on those particular topics. We can also select how many questions we want per topic, and we can select a due date. So let's go ahead and publish a study session here. Let's have all of our students go through some dialogue with EdBot on transformers, and then we'll add 2 additional personalized topics for each of our students to study. Again, this is customized to each student based on which topics they seem to be struggling with in the class. And if they're not struggling with any topics, it simply uses spaced repetition and brings back topics from very early on in the class back for some additional practice. Let's do 2 questions per topic, and let's select a due date for students to complete our study session. Okay, and we'll go ahead and publish that out to our students. All right, so let me log in now on the student side, and let's take a look at how that shows up. Okay, so I can see I'm logged in now as a student in this class. I can see the course feed here, the modules that we've published, and now I can see an additional item. This is the study session that we've just published here. It's required for me. Let's go ahead and open that up. And I can see here that now the study session is going to focus on transformers, convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks. Okay, transformers, because I required everybody in the class to study transformers as part of their study session. And then Classwise has selected these 2 additional topics, convolutional neural networks and recurrent neural networks, for me to study based on my performance. Okay, so I can go ahead and get started with the study session, and that will then engage me in a dialogue with EdBot on those topics, where EdBot will ask me some questions. I will answer, and EdBot can provide additional explanations of things as needed.